Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich here with your outlook for April 14th, 2016. For your Thursday, once again, we're going to have high pressure and control of our weather off to the north here in southeastern Canada above Vermont, New Hampshire. That is where it's going to be centered, and it's going to be hanging out there through the end of this week. And it's going to finally start to move to the southwest once we get into the weekend. So we're going to get this area high pressure here, move out here like this, and come right over top of our coverage area. By the time we get to Sunday morning, this is where it'll sit. Now, we talked about this blocking pattern we're going to be in this week. And actually, as we head towards the weekend, it's not going to be in place too long. And I'm starting to see signs that we might have a breakdown of that ridge that's established from that omega block on Monday. So we might not have quite as warm as we're indicating currently. We see our local forecasts for the most part are showing mid to upper 70s in many locations. Starting to see some indications that we're going to have a northwest wind aloft that might keep us from getting into the upper 70s, might keep us in the lower 70s. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Let's go over to that now just to show you. We showed you this yesterday for those of you that did watch the video. We have a blocking pattern known as an omega block, and that's because you have this big area of low pressure here in the western United States. It's a cutoff low, and here is your ridge here in the east. This is part of the omega block, and another cutoff low here in the Atlantic. So you got a big low right here, strong high pressure center right over here, and then you got another cutoff low here. Cutoff because the flow is over the top here like this, and this is cut off from that system. So the same thing over here, flows over top, and you have this system cut off here. So we're actually on the benefactors of the good side of this, where this omega block sets up, instead of being under this trough, and which would be colder weather and rainy and maybe even some snowy conditions up here in the mountains. But we're not dealing with that here. Instead, we're going to get that warmth coming in from the southwest or from the tropical regions. But we'll have a northeast wind. This high is not an ideal position here in order to give us some very strong warmth. So what we're seeing here on Sunday, as we get into Sunday here, we're going to start to see this ridge you can see the center of the ridge is actually out here. It's over the Midwest. Here's the center of your ridge. Now, you still got a part of the ridge here, but the center of it is out here to our west. So that means it's going to invite this flow up here from the northwest to start coming in here for Monday, we think. So that could make it break down Monday's temperatures and not allow us to get up near 80 degrees. Because this is more centered west, that is the sole reason we're not just soaring these temperatures well into the 80s, and we're going to stay in the 70s as we go forward. So we get into, just want to show you what it looks like here for Monday. Here's you get into Monday. See that northwest flow is kicking down right over top of our coverage area. This upper level, this is looking at 500 millibars going up 18,000 feet. So as long as the flow aloft is out of the northwest here, we're going to have to watch for temperatures to be held in check because of that. So we'll keep an eye on it just in case. But either way, it's not a big deal whether upper 70s versus lower. It's still going to be very warm. And I think that's the only thing we're really arguing right now. How warm does it get Monday? And right now we don't think it's going to be quite as warm as advertised. So we go a little bit forward here in time, and you see that high pressure finally sitting over top of our coverage area by the time we get to Sunday. So we'll be clear skies, not dealing with much of any precipitation. As a matter of fact, these models today that ran at 12Z on Wednesday were showing no precipitation for the majority of the next 10 days. So we're looking at something maybe in the middle of the week next week. Models today are saying And we do have a cold front that's going to approach later Monday. This is another thing to take into consideration. It's hard to see right here, but here's your low pressure moving up here in New England. There is a cold front attached to this that's sitting back here like this. Here's your cold front. Okay, so this is going to come through. You see no precipitation here, so we're not expecting any of that to come through when the front does, and this is going to be Monday evening. But it will knock down temperatures a little bit as we get into Tuesday. Now, Tuesday will be lower, but we still think it's going to be above normal temperature for this time of year. We'll be well into the 60s in many locations as far as temperatures are concerned. And then no precipitation is shown for the entire run of this particular model. And so a couple of models are like that, including the GFS. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out, because we could go in a very dry period regardless of temperature. And I do think after we get out of this really warm, these warm temperatures for about 3 days, up through about the 19th or so, we're going to have temperatures go back down to near to slightly above normal for a considerable amount of time before warming up again. So we're going to open down a little bit, but at least we're not going down to below normal temperatures, and of course no threat of any wintry weather in that period. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich, and that is your outlook for April 14th, 2016. Have a great Thursday.